Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You are welcome. So tonight we're gonna you're our first producer, Mark.
Is that right?
It is.
Okay. Well, look, happy to be here. I got to say,
It's good to have you here. I can't see you, but
I can't see him either.
really,
yeah, man, your video's gone.
is that right?
Yeah, but we're still here.
I can see me.
That's all right then. Hopefully, you might come back halfway through.
And the people on live stream can see him as well.
Excellent. Excellent.
So
I'll just imagine you, Mark.
just imagine.
Yeah, don't let that get away with you.
So it's good to have you on, Mark. We're going to talk through some of the stuff you've produced and dive right in. I'm excited. We're all excited. Tave's excited. Kelly's excited. Tave, you wanted to ask Mark something.
Well, I thought the best question to start with would be actually, Mark, what is your job description? Because for other people watching that aren't into the music scene, they might know, what the hell does a music producer do? Because I know it's so many things. So if you could give us a rundown of what your job is.
Yeah, look, it's often one that gets people a bit, confused about what does a music producer do, and it goes back for quite a few years, obviously decades, in fact. So, look, for me, being a musician myself, I started producing myself, I suppose I could say. I got into this whole thing because I could write songs. Well, I thought I could write songs, and originally I just had something to say, musically speaking. And so that kind of progressed into a thought around how do I provide other people with the ability to listen to this, and that got into recording and all the rest of it. Producing came about because of that evolution from mixing. And producing really is looking at the structure of a song, and it includes also the artist, by the way. So it's not just the structure of the song, it's not just the components, or where do you put a verse, where do you put a chorus. It's also about what instruments might work. And I would describe it as, creatively speaking, I'd describe it as something that is the ability to look at a song and start adding those elements into it that really brings it to life. And when you combine that with the mixing side of things, it's a hell of a lot of fun. And in fact, it's like playing another musical instrument. And a lot of people think about mixing and producing and that sort of stuff, studio work. And they'll look at, do you know what all those buttons do? Well, the fact is that each of those buttons is just one row repeated. So if you know what one channel does, you know what. So producer is really looking at all of the elements. How do we make the best representation of this song possible? How do we get this artist into a situation where they sound, look, feel, all the rest of it from a song point of view? It's getting all of those pieces together. And it's such a great experience. You get to experiment a fair bit. So that's really what I describe it as.
So you're like a conductor, Mark, really?
Yeah, you could say that. Absolutely. And even prior to that, if I was a conductor, I'd probably be a bad one, because I'd be saying, no, you guys stop and you guys kick off, because I really like what I was hearing there. Yeah. Probably not a good thing to do live.
And Mark, you're the first producer I've actually worked with, and it's funny because I didn't know what a producer did either. Previously when recording, I'd just go in there and record how the song was live, but there was none of, okay, let's do this and let's see if this works. And obviously working with you, a lot of the times you do what doesn't work first to get that out of the way.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. There's a lot of experimentation. And that's the beauty of it. With that experimentation, sometimes, you'll come across stuff and you go, you know what, it's not working. And the producer's job is to understand when that's not working. And if you're starting to head down a path where it's not feeling right, it's not really adding any sort of value to the song, that's when you start to stop. And Matt, you and I, we work through this. But on the flip side of that, of course, is when you do come across something that's just pure gold. And the high fives are there, the smiles are there. Did you hear that? It's just it's an elation. It's such a good feeling.
Those moments, those light bulb moments where you're like,
absolutely,
like you've done it to me all the time. You're like, Matt, what the fuck did you just do? I'm like, I don't know, but I'll try and do it again for you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, and what I love about you as a producer is, I think probably a lot of producers do this, and Tave, you might have come, across this situation where Mark, I've come up with an idea. Mark knows it's not going to work, but he's let me come to that conclusion on my own.
Yeah, that's a great attribute to have for a producer. Yeah. Another main thing, I guess, that you do, Mark, is have to work with the artist. It's like everyone's got different personality, and everyone's got different things they want from the recording. So you've got to,
It is a really interesting position to be in, because, to be perfectly honest, you're a bit of a psychologist. No disrespect to psychologists, but you've got to understand the artist and what they're trying to achieve, right? There's a balancing act there, and so you have a bit of psychology, encouragement, understanding how to traverse a thought from an artist that says, I really want to do this. I'm in a band as well, so and that's a really interesting experience too. Similar sort of thing. So yeah, you have to work with the artist and say, hey, listen, great take, let's do it again, but put a bit of an inflection on this part, or let's do this, or let's do that. And again, making sure that all of those various, it's about the artist delivering the song, of course, but being able to direct and being able to provide, in some cases, gentle advice, in some cases, no, that's not working, let's try again. It's fun though. I love it. It's great fun. And you've got to work with that artist.
Mark, do you ever get an artist that's just not seeing it? That's just not seeing what it is that you're
you can't put me in this position.
I'll see you in half an hour, guys. Mark, take it away.
No, it's a good question. It's a really good question. So the other thing, I guess, is when you've got different clients, it's a really, really interesting landscape. Everyone's different. Everyone's got their own ideas. I've had clients which are supremely talented, but they're incredibly demanding. Every little tiny nuance must be adhered to. It's got to be right. It just cannot be wrong under any circumstances, and so you've got to work with that. Other artists, I've had artists come in and they want to just be free, and it's we'll just jam, and so I've got to try and rein that in a little bit and go, guys, this is, if you want to jam, it's okay. We can do a scratch track, right? That's just a draft, but we've got to get serious about getting these parts right if you want the song to sound, like you want it to sound. So working with different people, there are so many different elements to it. They've got nothing to do with music. I should get a degree in psychology and whatever else. But it's a very complex, but yet fun, right? This is the diversity of life, and being a producer really gives you that exposure to all of these different people. You get to see so much. It's fascinating stuff.
Alrighty, so we're gonna let's listen to something you've produced, Marky. Which one did you want to go with first?
Well, why don't we go with something that's a little different? And it was a bit of a foray. Just before we jump in, the backstory to this, I suppose, Matt, and this is your the first EDM track that I really produced and mixed for you. I catch up with a whole bunch of other producers and mixing engineers in the Canberra region. We have a great catch up. Not many people want to talk about plugins and mixing and all the rest of it. But I mentioned to them, hey, I'm mixing my first EDM track. And they went, oh, you're in for a whole new world. And it was great. I was in for a whole new world. So let's go with that one, Matt.
All right, let's listen to the 4 a.m. remix. We actually haven't talked about it on here before, really. So
What time do we leave? What time
mate, it's been a little while. I've forgotten.
I could just imagine that discussion with Matt saying, "Let's do an electronic dance mix." Oh my God!
Yeah, it was an ongoing discussion.
And the one thing we found challenging about that was obviously Mark being in Canberra, me in Melbourne, him having his studio, him having studio monitors, and he'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When he would send it to me, I would hear it different. I was hearing shit that he couldn't because I was listening to it on these headphones, on my AirPods, on my phone, in the car. And Mark's like, I can't hear it. I'm like, well, I can. So that was a big challenge. We got there in the end.
I was ready to book, Ian knows throat specialists, what's going on in my ears, what's happening, I can't hear it. So all about the mixing and different speakers. What I keep telling people is, and there's often a bit of a misconception about this sort of stuff. The amount of different speakers, listen to it in the car, listen to it on headphones, listen to it in the studio, and that's how you get a good mix. But yeah, it was a challenge, that's for sure.
What other challenges did you face doing like an EDM for the first time, and how did you go into it? Did you go into it different to any other song? Yeah,
I did, because it's a different genre, right? So I had to think about it in a different way, obviously. And an EDM track, so you're talking about people that want to feel, dance. It's obviously very different than an acoustic, lyrically driven song. And so I went into it with the idea that it needed to be big, it needed to be bold, it needed to have layers. And the thing about EDM, sorry, you're going to say?
It needed to have a drop. Remember we learned that last week, fellas?
Got to have a drop, yeah.
Got to have a drop. And it came in.
It did. And the funny thing is, most songs do have a drop. It's just not as pronounced as EDM. And so EDM's kind of like this, if you took a normal song structure for either a rock or a pop song, and you just got to amplify the hell out of it, right? More bass, big drop, a whole lot. And so I just built those layers up. It took a little while. Repetitiveness is a big thing in EDM, I've discovered. And Matt, I've talked to my son. He does a lot of this sort of stuff.
Yeah,
he's into mixing this sort of music, and he loves it. And I played him a couple of iterations as I was mixing the song and working through it and progressing it. And he was like, "Yeah, Dad, it's good." So it was definitely a different approach, and but I really enjoyed it. I have done something previous to that, which was. It was actually a little experiment that I wanted to kind of prove to my son that I could do something like he could, and it was really weird. I had all of these sound effects like tape stopping and starting and all this other sort of stuff, but it was fun. It was only very short. Matt's the first that I did that was like fully produced song. So it was a journey.
Yeah, I bet
you got there.
I got a question. This is going to be really hard to answer, but
okay.
When someone brings you a song, is there anything you look for in a good song? Like any basic elements that you would look for in a good song? I know that's going to be almost impossible to answer because.
Look, there's a whole bunch, but honestly, it's not that hard to answer. Melody. 100%. So when I don't know what it is, but for me. I've always had the ability to hear something. A quick story. My old man wasn't. There's no one in my family that's musical, by the way, other than my kids. Wow. So when I grew up, my old man loved listening to music. He had an eye for talent and an ear for talent. He was incredible. I remember one day he was yelling out to me from the other end of the room, and he said, "Mark, come here." I must have been about 14, whatever it was. And I run in, and he's looking at the TV, and he said, "You see that?" He said, "That's talent." And I went, "Right." It was Fats Domino playing the piano. And I went, "Okay, fair enough." So, when I heard that sort of thing, when I experienced what, he was listening to, I think that set me up, and it set me up well. He was able to somehow decipher what was good against what wasn't. And so I've taken that with me, and I think I've got the same ability. When I hear a song, someone comes to me, plays it on a guitar, I get an instantaneous feeling, or I don't, or I get snippets of it. and I go, oh, that was brilliant. Love the chorus, was great. Maybe we should work a little bit on the chorus. So the one-word answer is absolutely melody, without a doubt. Having said that, then there's all the other elements. You know, what are you going to layer on top of it? What's the guitar going to do? How do you want to deliver the melody? Are the little inflections that we can put in? Do you sing one note different at the end of the chorus the second time around? That kind of thing. But that's primarily the first thing that hits me.
And do you ever see a song like you know how sometimes guys will write songs and sometimes some songs they'll struggle with for months and months and try and get them, you know, work them out, and it'll be a struggle. Other times songs just come all at once. Do you ever see it like someone comes and plays you a song or part of a song and you can see it already in your head?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's bizarre because, I mean, that's how I write songs. Most of the songs I've written, you know, they take me no more than probably 20 minutes. Well, the good ones anyway. But then the other element to that, though, is that that's okay to get that basic structure, and you first know, you know, that first hit, like you just described, you get a feeling straight away and go, yeah, that's a good one. That's a cracker. Yeah. But then you work through it and you go, you know what, the structure's not quite right. It needs another verse, or it needs another chorus. But that absolutely happens, no question. In fact, we're kind of working through that process now with my band. We used to be a band many years ago, and we've just reformed only to do recording. We don't do any gigs, not that you can anyway at the moment, but we don't do any gigs or anything like that. We're not really interested in doing that. We want to deliver a song that means something, that people can interpret, and it means something to them. And so at the moment we're working through that, right? What is the process that works for four dudes that get together and go, that sounds like a really good song. However, someone's got an idea. Can we change this? Does it work? Doesn't it? So it's a bit of a challenge, but for my songs personally, I think collaboration is an underrated thing. I think I can write a reasonably good song, but having somebody else to hear it, somebody else that's musical, somebody else to come in and provide an objective view, priceless.
You need that, and that's the one thing you've taught me, Mark. Like what you've done to the songs I brought to you on this EP, like you when it's just you, it's just tunnel vision.
Yeah.
And it's either your way or not at all. But to have, and that's the thing that you've obviously got to build trust, and obviously we've got the trust. Like I listen to you when I know something's not working or what might work, or even if I can't see it at the time, I trust you and do it over and over, and then I can see it.
That's good, mate.
Yeah, it is good.
Good boy, man.
Yeah. Well done. It's a bit like, you know, I mean, you'd be an incredible chef, but there is a difference between you tasting the meal or the process and going, that's really good to me. As soon as you give it to someone else, and you see this on cooking shows, right? More salt. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Actually, yeah, you're right. More salt. It's just a little bit like that.
Yeah. Speaking of the band, let's listen to the band's song, which is called "Gotta Go."
Yeah.
By Mark's band, Urban Addicts.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
Cool.
Let's give it a crack.
You take. I don't wanna be the one to put you in your place. Somehow you gotta realize, girl, you're such a disgrace. I don't really wanna talk about it. I know you want your space. Yeah, watch me turn slowly, walk away. No more stupid games. Take a walk, take a train, take a bus. Nothing left to say. You left me with a big old mess. There's trouble in the works. Trade your tears for a rainy day. What's the use in crying anyway? Somehow things have gotten strange. waiting for you to come home. Sick and tired messing with my head. Time to put this thing to bed. You're the one who made the perfect crime. Stole my heart and stopped it in the ground. Your love has chained me like a hound. Don't you know, love knows no bounds. Somehow, things have gotten strange. Somehow, things are gonna change. Oh, I don't know, you gotta go. Shaking me down, taking it slow. Oh, I don't know, you gotta go. Yeah. Shaking me down, taking it slow. So slow. Slow.
Nice.
Thank you. Bit of Aussie rock.
That's,
Yeah, a
yeah,
little
I was
bit.
going to say it sounds so Australian, Mark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. It
I
does.
can
Yeah.
hear- I can
Just
hear
so
the easy
that-
beats and that. I can hear you and I can hear, yeah,
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
cool.
Some really cool shifts during that particular song too. Just some shifts in tempo. Yeah, loved it. Loved it.
Oh, great. Well, thanks. That's good feedback. Yeah, we've had some good feedback on that one. We're all pretty passionate about kicking on and doing some more. We've got a single out, and we've got another one on the way. So we're loving it at the moment. We're just a whole bunch of old blokes just having a bit of fun.
Definitely Australian sounding, though. That
Yeah, look, we used to go out and gig around Canberra in the late early 90s, and if you recall, that was for Australia, and even Canberra in particular. When you think about Canberra's history for bands and all of that sort of thing, it was quite a scene. There was a lot going on all over the country, and it was a good time. Loved it.
You mentioned that song, Curly. A lot of changes. I like it. Like it, just I don't know. The verse is like the bass, and then the chorus it just brings it up, and then it drops back down. And obviously, we've spoken about that's what songs. I don't know. The chorus there's a really nice feel there. I don't know what it is. It just reminds me of the beach.
Well, mate,
And why not? And
Why
why not?
not?
suffering from lockdown.
I went to the beach today.
I think so.
It
I
was
think so.
interesting that Tave was able to pick up UMI in and the influences, because I was listening to it this afternoon, and it's one of those songs that is you can sense there's something in there, but I was trying to really think of who is this, where is this coming from, that sense of familiarity around that song. And
Well, I really heard the easy bits. I think you're.
Yeah.
I think is that you singing, Mark?
No, it's I'm not singing on that. We've got a lead singer, Nick Gain, and he's
Definitely got a Stevie Wright sound to him.
yeah, okay, yeah, wow, that's
he's
interesting.
Well, that's I guess they're the essence of Aussie rock.
Yeah.
The birthplace of it, really.
I'm a big fan.
I was gonna say, Mark, tell the listeners and what your job on that song was. Obviously, lead guitar.
Yeah. So the way that came together was our drummer Simon came to me and said, "Listen, I've got this idea," and he had the basic concept of the foundation of the song, right? So he had some guitar parts, and I played some lead. I think I wrote the verses. I'm going to get myself into trouble here. Nick wrote the chorus. I heard that chorus. Yeah, no, we're doing this 100%. And then obviously I did all the mixing and a bit of production, and then mastering and whatever else. So it's a collaborative effort. Really rare from a songwriting perspective to get four blokes together and actually work reasonably harmoniously to get an outcome like that. Yeah.
was going to say, any challenges with, 4 of you in a band, like trying to decide on every little thing and.
Mate, look, yes. For that one, probably not so much.
Yep.
For the next single that we did, just a little bit more, but probably the same. This next one, I came to the table with a fully written song. There's been a bit of contention, a bit of back and forward, but we're working through it.
Well, I really think that's good. I heard someone say one day, Blink-182, Mark and Tom. There was a song that came out on their album called Neighborhoods. Sorry, the album was called Neighborhoods. The song was called Ghost on the Dance Floor, which is a really good song.
Yeah.
I think it was mainly Tom did it, but Mark didn't want it to come out. And it came out anyway. But I think it's good to have that pull. Otherwise, if one bloke gets his way the whole time, it's pretty much just like his band and his sound. So it's good to get that. I reckon it's good to get that tension, so you get the different sounds, the different inputs.
Yeah,
And
it's funny, it actually does come out in the song a little bit as well. So you can feel a little bit of that tension in there, I think. And the other thing is too that it helps me when I'm working with my clients, right? So being able to negotiate some of these points, and trust me when I say there have been some fairly, stern sort of points of view. We have to do this, or that really doesn't work here. And being able to negotiate that is a real skill, and it really helps me with clients from a production point of view.
And like you said before, you've got to have that second ear as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. I've got to mix the bloody thing, right?
Yeah.
I guess one of the things that makes it hard in the times we're in at the moment is that, normally you'd have a song and you'd probably go and play it live, 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 times, and it kind of works itself out, some of the parts that way.
Yeah.
Playing it often, whereas you're not doing that now, so you just.
Interesting that you said that, because I actually insisted, and I set up my studio's in my garage, and it's cordoned off in its own right, and the bigger part of the garage we literally set up, cleaned it out. We spent a whole weekend, just tip run after tip run, and I said to the guys, look, let's set up and jam these songs out. So we've got an idea of the structure, and we can work through these ideas and all that sort of stuff. And we didn't do that for the first two, and interestingly, that was where we came into some a little bit of argy-bargy, but we're working through it. It's all good. But you're right, doing that stuff live absolutely solidifies whether it feels right, whether there needs to be changes or whatever.
Yeah, we think if you jammed it out first, you would have got through some of those hurdles that you come across when you're recording it.
That was a theory. But we'll see how it goes. We've only done one jamming on it and whatever. What does tend to work, and we've done a couple of really good other ones that we haven't recorded yet, but what does tend to work is we get out of the studio and we come up. I got a big pergola, Matt, you've seen it, and we sit out the back and we have a couple of beers, and we just grab an acoustic guitar and we just muck around, and it's amazing what happens when you're just that relaxed. And you're not really trying to achieve anything. You're just mucking around. Some of the best ideas, honestly. It's really interesting.
One of my lyrics came from an Instagram post.
There you go.
It's crazy when the things, and I guess there's no pressure either. So when you are relaxed.
Well, the key is just knowing in any circumstance what works. And again, we get back to that that definitely sounds right, and it. You read it, you sense it,
and obviously knowing when to. Like, I remember you and me, Mark. We were working on something for 2 hours or something, and we didn't get anywhere, and then we had a break. We came back. We fucking got somewhere. Yeah. You
got to know when to stop.
You got to know when to stop.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we're gonna play another song now, called "After a While," and this is Mark Braham himself, solo song.
It is. Can I challenge? A little challenge? At the end of this, we talked about the previous song and what it reminded you guys of, and where you thought the influences might be. So the challenge is on this one, if you will, indulge me. think about what influence there might have been for this one. You might be able
I
to.
feel like I know this because,
All right.
but I'll let
Challenge
these
accepted.
two.
All right. Fair enough.
Challenge accepted, and I can already tell you it's got a Sunday session feel. So.
Tony and his Sunday session feels.
Excellent.
Who's that?
Life can be so beautiful if you just know where to look. And pain can be a teacher that you'll never find in books. A road that's going nowhere can lead to a surprise. And darkness may be near you, but it just can't stop the light. Now love can make you promises, but a promise can be broken. And friendship has a way with words when words cannot be spoken. A peace of mind is a happiness that happens in a moment, but only when our happiness is something we have chosen. No lessons in our future, cause a future can take time. Don't you know life gets better after a while? Change won't give you everything, but without it there is sadness. Believing in a better world can lead you into madness. The simple things like a setting sun can awaken an emotion. When what we say is what we do and it's done with some devotion. No lessons in our future, cause the future can take time. Don't you know life gets better after a while? When we find ourselves together, can we try to get along? A reminder to each other from the minute that we're born. A message in our nature that we can do alright. Life gets better after a while. Life is better after a while.
Oh, Jesus.
Early Sunday session.
Man, that song hits different going through what we're going through at the moment.
Broken heart.
Yeah.
What's that song? It's not like it. Well, it is like it, but it's not. I can't think of the song though.
Yeah,
Oh.
there's a song that's on the tip of my tongue that
Well, for the first time, and
It's a good song, Mark. I like it.
Thank you. Yeah.
something. Well, I don't know if this is what influenced you, but something I heard in there, which I've never heard before, and that's because I haven't really listened to this artist because I'm a young pup. But the last 12 months, I've listened to The Boss a lot.
Cheeky bugger.
That song reminded me a lot of The Boss.
Okay, really? Wow.
Yeah, like I've only started listening to him the last 12 months.
Oh man,
Yeah.
get into the boss.
Yeah, I just that clean guitar.
Yeah.
And just yeah.
Okay.
it's smooth.
What
Yeah.
influenced that one, Mark?
So that was a John Mayer kind of
that's
influenced
it.
it. Yeah.
I got it now. Yeah.
Waiting for the World to Change is the song that.
Well, the change. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was what kind of really inspired that one. The singer in the band is just a devotee. He's a massive fan. I love John Mayer. He's brilliant. He's such a good
mate.
guitarist.
I think John Mayer is probably the best blues guitarist in the world at the moment.
I think you're probably right. He's smooth. He's just such a good. He delivers well. It's brilliant. There's a couple of really good YouTube videos of him. Just whittling, a bit of a lockdown kind of approach, but yeah, brilliant stuff.
I was going to.
There's some lead breaks that he does.
I don't know if you've seen the solo off between him and Keith Urban.
Oh, it's brilliant. I have.
Fucking hell.
That's another. You know what? What an underrated guitarist, an Australian guitarist, Keith Urban. Not everyone loves country music and whatever, but he's sort of built his own country rock genre. But damn, he's a good guitarist. He is talented. He really is.
He's good. He's good.
And sing.
Yeah, absolutely. So for that one, no help at all. I had to do it on my own. Bass, drums, singing, harmonies, guitar, the works.
Did you get anyone else to listen to it for a second opinion on anything?
I did. I was working with, Frank Zappia. I was working on 2 albums at the same time. One was mine.
Our piano player.
Session piano player. Yeah, talented guy. He's got song out, Zappia, Frank Zappia, IA, not to be confused. So yeah, I did, and I always get the family to have a listen. My daughter's quite musical. She's a good barometer.
Yeah, we had a guest on here a couple of weeks ago called Sean, and he was telling us the same thing about he'd let his girlfriend listen to the songs first, and
yeah,
I think that's really important because anyone but us is a fan, and they're the listeners. We're not the listeners. It's our song, but once it's out, it's not for us anymore.
No, that's absolutely right. It's about 100%. And Matt, we've talked about it. I'm a firm believer that the songs, when you're writing them, they'll tell you, and when you're producing them, they'll tell you what's needed and what's not. And they're like your little babies, but you got to let them go. You got to let them grow up. They're like your kids.
That's the lesson that you taught me. And like I said to you, probably I don't know how long ago now, but I said, for so long I thought this song was going to be the single, and then I got to the point where I'm like, fuck, I don't know what song I don't know what song is going to be the first single anymore. You just have to let it grow, and
yeah.
You got to get them out of you. You got to get them out, get them.
Absolutely.
You do. And there's no better feel. I think I was actually telling a mate of mine the other day, there's no better compliment that I've ever had for one of my songs, at least, than playing it to this particular individual. And I didn't say anything after the song finished. And he said, this is what it meant to me. And he described his interpretation of it and what it meant to him personally. Yeah. And that was just the biggest compliment I could have ever had. For one person to be able to feel something and interpret it, and it means something, not necessarily what I meant when I wrote it, but for that person to go, this is what it meant to me, that's just the ultimate compliment. If you can do it more than once, brilliant.
Absolutely. And I'm going to bring out one of Curly's favorite songs. I think it was Curly's favorite songs. Someone said to me once that Throw Your Arms Around Me was about a one night stand.
Yeah.
That may be so. But when I hear it and when I think about it, I don't think about that. I think of being in a relationship with someone and loving that person, So perfect example of one song meaning different meanings. Yeah.
And that song is so ethereal. It's just all encompassing, it evokes all of and when I hear a song like that and I think to myself, look, it really does evoke emotion, and it almost, it's pulling you in, and it's going, what do you think I'm telling you? It's evoking something inside yourself, which is fantastic. But, the funny thing is, I can't help it. I always go back and I go, now think about how that got produced. Think about the conversations that were had, all those little moments of that song that really meant something.
Now, can you listen to a song and not think about production? Can you enjoy a song? Or have you gone through phases where you can't? Yeah.
It's a good question. It's a really good question, because it does happen quite a lot. And it's funny. It's sort of a bit of a roller coaster, that one. I listen to a song sometimes and I've just tuned into it and I'm feeling it and it's great. And then about halfway through I go, oh, that's interesting. What do they do with the lead? Oh, I can hear some reverb. No, I bet there's some delay there. Oh, compression was really good. So, and then I'll drift out again and enjoy the song. But Yeah, it varies. It varies. It's hard not to be honest. But yeah, there's times. Sometimes I'll just put on some sort of, I don't know, easy listening. I like listening to those real chill beats, that lounge stuff. I get outside on a Sunday, have a beer, and just no words, nothing to interpret.
I quite enjoy jazz music.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, just chilling. Yeah. So that must be a hard thing to like not like hear a song and then not think about production. Are you gentlemen familiar with Mark Ronson?
Yes.
Yeah, he did Uptown Funk with Bruno Mars. He's worked with Lady Gaga, Rehab, Amy Winehouse, and I listened to a podcast with him today or yesterday, and he said he he can't listen to music when having sex because all he's thinking about is the production. And he's like thinking about that snare and that bass line. He's thinking he'd be too distracted.
Does that include Barry White?
Well, he brought that up.
Oh,
like, no.
yeah.
He's like, I can't listen to that. So I thought that was a very interesting thing. Like, it's like probably movie directors not being able to enjoy a movie because they know how that's done. And that's why I asked you the question about the production. Yeah.
It is. It is a bit of a challenge. It depends on the circumstance as well. You know, if I've got music, favorite music blaring in the background, and my family and friends are around having a big barbecue or whatever. There's people getting really jealous right now. I'm getting jealous too. We'll get there again. But yeah, look, it's easy to relax to that sort of thing. But if you just kind of, a couple of you all by yourself, it's tough.
And it's not just producers that like production value. The last time we were in Adelaide and Tave and I were having a couple of beers and I was sharing some of the stuff that, from 1986 and onwards.
Yes.
From 1986 and
every
onwards.
episode.
I'm with you, Curly.
And what?
Hang on, Curly. From 1986 and onward to 1988.
You blokes in the 80s.
But quite often the first thing that would come out of Tave's mouth was, the production values on this is much higher than the others. And so it's not just producers.
This is why, now Kelly, why I want to bury that EP you've got of mine. That's why I want to never fucking see the light of day again.
I wonder if I could upload it to Spotify. No.
Now, ladies, make 20 cents.
Now, gentlemen, we are at 48 minutes. So once again, just fantastic discussion. Maddie, I'll leave it to you to round off the conversation.
Round it off. All right. Mark, pleasure to have you on talking production. Hope you enjoyed yourself. It's good because a lot of guests we have on here, they're like, I don't get a chance to talk.
Yeah.
In a situation like this, so it's good to bring you on and talk. Any final words, Tave?
I was just thinking before when we were talking about how we have different feelings for different songs, each of us. And I was thinking what it is, and we talked about what Mark actually does and what we do as musicians. And I think if you strip it all back, what we actually do is we make vibrations in the air.
Yep.
Those vibrations, it's going to get deep, Tony. Those vibrations come in contact with other humans and make them feel something.
Wow.
It's the real special thing that we do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's energy vibrating through the air. It's incredible.
And it comes out in my air guitar. Is that the way it works? It comes
out. It comes out in your Sunday session.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It can.
All right. Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure having you.
Really good.
And
thanks, guys.
So just to do the wrap up now, thanks everyone for tuning in. We have had some people on YouTube live stream again, so thank you all. If you like this, please share it around. We love putting this together. I think it's a real opportunity. I learn something every single week, and it's a lot of fun. We kick the weekend off early as well, so that's always nice. All of the songs tonight have been added to the Unfiltered and Undiscovered playlist on Spotify, so check them out. We'll also have the individual songs linked in the show notes. To those that joined us, of course, on live stream, thank you. Don't forget, check us out on YouTube, subscribe, share. For a list of upcoming episodes, we've got them on our website, the Unfiltered. Geez, we sound professional. Unfiltered and Undiscovered.com. Next week, we have Blind Season from Detroit. We're coming to you a little bit later than normal. Let's hope they don't miss their alarm.
Oh, these poor guys are going to be in early in the
I
morning.
reckon they think it's. I reckon they think it's 9:30 their time.
So, and then after Blind Season from Detroit, we've got a music promoter, James Dawson. And then the week after that, we've got the punter. So we've had the producer, the promoter, and the punter. It's just
Awesome.
The 3-piece.
Yeah, Stewie's also a drummer, so I don't know if if that's classed as a muso. I'm not sure the pecking order. But once again, thanks to our guest, Mark. And finally, it's good night from the BBC.
Good night. And where can people find you, Mark, if they want to hire you as their producer?
It's just freestonproductions.com.au. You'll catch me there, guys. Thank you so much for having me on. I had a blast. It was great fun, and you are professional. It was good. It was awesome.
See you all.
All right, thanks, guys. See ya.
Hang around.